Corvette C8 prices continue to plummet. 2021 convertibles lost, for example, more than $40,000 since their market top. This is of course no surprise. I've been meticulously tracking C8 prices and sharing them with you every quarter. I'm sure that this insane depreciation is no surprise if you're a subscriber. Of course, we'll again have a look at the latest price trends and compare them to some of its competitors. But we'll also do something else. We'll explore if the depreciation might decrease soon. Let's first start with the data. Over here we have the price trend for the C8 Stingray, split by roof type. These are beautiful from a data perspective. There are thousands of cars for sale, making these trends very reliable, and the seasonal pattern is predictable. Prices topped in August 2021, and this is approximately 1 year before the general market topped. The reason for this is of course idiosyncratic. Market supply ramped up to almost 1,000 cars by this time, and this was sufficient to put an end to the soaring prices. As we discussed in 2021, this top marked the start of decreasing prices. We can see that the initial price drop of $8,000 in the coupe market and $6,000 in the convertible market was relatively small. That is, relative to what the market was about to experience. You see, it was in the summer of 2022 that prices plummeted. It was the perfect storm. The general market corrected with above average rates and we were heading into the winter. Coupes decreased by $11,000 and convertibles by $13,000 in the time span of only 6 months. A massive drop. Heading into the summer of 2023, demand crept up a bit and prices stabilized. But this was only the typical seasonal effect. As we approached the winter, prices fell off a cliff yet again. Compared to last year, coupes are down by 11% or $9,700 and convertibles by 11.8% or $11,600. And these numbers, including all of the previous ones, are before any inflation adjustments. Now all of this means that, on average, a coupe is now $28,200 or 26.5% cheaper than at the market top. For convertible, this is $33,000 or 27.6%. Let's also assess the situation in the Z06 market. Inspecting the trends for the coupes and the convertibles, we can see that convertibles lost 25.8% or $59,000 since May 2023, and that this is 28.9% or $63,000 for the coupes. Note that these numbers are especially high due to the first data point. In total there were 23 cars listed for sale in May 2023, and this was during the peak of the hype. Nevertheless, if you paid around $220,000 to $230,000, you're looking at a serious depreciation. So we saw now that prices are falling in the Stingray and the Z06 market, but that of course doesn't make these cars cheap. In relation to MSRP, prices are still high. Most likely this is then also a driver of the higher than average depreciation rate. Let's compare the rate now to the rest of the market. Over here we have the US year-over-year price changes for almost all cars that feature on my channel. On the horizontal axis we have the price change compared to last year in percentages, and on the vertical axis we have the number of cars to which this change applies. The median decrease during last year was 8%, and most cars lost between 3 and 12%. With an average decrease of 11.4%, Stingray prices just fall on the border of the cars that experienced a normal loss and the ones that lost significantly more than the average. The rate is for example much higher than the plus 2.5% in the Cayman GTS 4-liter market and more in line with the 12% in the LC500 market. But more about this soon. The Z06 on the other hand falls much further to the left. These are yearly changes, so it's not really fair to compare it to a 9-month change in the Z06 market. But even though the latter period is shorter, the depreciation rate is much higher at 27.4%. This is way higher than the market average. The left tail is mainly comprised of cars like the Taycans and the AMG GT's 4-doors. It's clear that the price trends are pointing down and that depreciation rates are slightly elevated in the Stingray market and above average in the Z06 market. But these Stingrays have been with us for approximately 3 years now, a period after which it wouldn't be strange at all to start to see signs of bottoming in the price trend. So is the depreciation rate already decreasing, or are there any signs that this will happen anytime soon? Let's start by looking a bit closer to the prices. Over here we have the price trend for the coupes. broken down by model year. At first, there doesn't appear to be any bottoming signs, right? Price trends are still pointing down. A closer inspection, however, reveals that there are minor changes. The oldest cars, so the ones from 2020, are most likely to show a bottoming pattern first. These cars lost approximately 16% between January 2022 and February 2023. But between February 2023 and 24, prices came down by only 11%. In other words, prices dropped less than before. The depreciation rate sits now in a more normal range. We saw that in the market comparison, right? Moreover, there are actually a bunch of cars that lost more than the C8 Stingray. Think about Jaguar F-Types, Californias, and new V8 Vantages. Naturally, there are also a lot of cars that lost less, especially when it comes to Porsches. But that's not all. There's more evidence that the Stingray market is strengthening slightly. Cars are namely not selling as slow as they used to. Over here we can see the development in the carried over inventory. That is, the percentage of cars that aren't sold within 3 months. As the hype diminished, this value increased over time, meaning that the cars are selling slower and slower. But there's also a significant seasonal pattern. Typically, cars sell slower during the winter. We can see that 25% of the coupes and 27% of the convertibles that were for sale during February 2022 were also for sale during November 2021. Now if we compare that number to February 2024, we can see that it dropped to 22%. Not a massive drop, but yet again, a small indication that the scarcity level is slightly higher than during last year. This of course matches with the lower depreciation rate. After all, typically, the slower the cars are selling, the higher the depreciation. There's one other thing. If we look at the price change for this unsold inventory, we can see a similar softening. We can see that unsold inventory is typically discounted a lot more during the winter than during the summer. No surprises over here. In the winter of January 2023, coupes that weren't sold within 3 months were discounted by 7% and convertibles by 6%. Fast forwarding a year, we can see that these rates decreased to 5%, meaning that sellers are discounting unsold cars less than before. Again, another indication that the worst price fall could be behind us. Let's wrap up and conclude. C8 Stingray prices are approximately 27% below their market top, and yet again fell off a cliff as we headed into the winter. This means that Stingrays are 11.4% cheaper than 1 year ago. Z06 prices are 27.4% cheaper than 9 months ago and are still falling rapidly. In the grand scheme of things though, the situation is improving slowly in the Stingray market. We saw that the depreciation rate is still high compared to other cars, but that it no longer sits in the 25% of cars that lost the most. Last year's depreciation was then also slightly lower than the preceding year. Moreover, we saw that cars are selling slightly quicker than last year and that unsold inventory is discounted less. These are all signs that the worst drop is likely to be behind us and that it's likely that we'll start to see marginal decreases in the depreciation rates. Don't get me wrong, I said marginal decreases, not bottoming prices. That's not even a topic we're discussing at this moment. And with that we conclude the C8 analysis. The C7 didn't feature on the channel for a long time, but I started to track them again. So in the second half of 2024 they will also be included in the Corvette market updates. Now if you like this data-driven approach of analyzing car prices, but would like to see a video for a different car, head over to my channel. Over there you'll find detailed market updates for a large variety of cars. Can't find the car you're looking for? Let me know the name of the car by commenting it down below in the comment section. Once there are enough requests for a certain car, I'll make a video about it. As always, thank you for watching and I hope to see you next week for a new video.